Build a mobile village and travel with your tribe toward the center of the world, called the Eye. This roguelike turn-based resource management game is made of procedural situations, natural events, skill trees, and hard choices. Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of As Far as the Eye. So first I have to thank the developers for giving me a key for this game. I really appreciate it. So at first glance, this game seems cute and like a relaxing game. And it is, in a way. It's a fun game to play and it's very relaxing. But trust me when I say that this game requires a lot of thinking, and it is quite difficult. So the first time I started playing this game, I had two options: to start the game or to play the campaign, which is basically the story and also a tutorial. I picked the first option, which was really a bad mistake, leading to 30 minutes of confusion. I didn't know where to go or what I have to do. The game wasn't telling me anything. So the game has a campaign/tutorial for a reason. Many games nowadays don't even need a tutorial, but I'm really happy that this one does, because it helped me a lot and it really helps the player, explains everything how to do. And to be honest, the game was really difficult for me. I have failed many times to finish it. It has 5 parts on which you start with basics, like how to move and order your villages and your tribe, to later progress to the Eye, and how to build your buildings and heal your villagers from sickness, and how to prepare food and make different recipes. I gotta say, I really love art style of this game. I love the art direction and the animation and just the look of the characters. It's very well done. The camera angle of the game is like from a bird's perspective. However, it is not a fixed camera. It can be zoomed in and out and even moved around the characters and the environment as everything is happening. So basically, this is a turn-based game, and you have around 90 turns at the beginning. The world is made like a hexacomb, and each hexacomb is like one step. Each villager can make 3 steps per turn. So you start always with a caravan, which is like a big animal that carries all of your supplies and your villagers. Some parts of the area that you are in are undiscovered, and at first you have to go around with the caravan to find the perfect spot that fits for you, and that's a very important part at the start of the game. As I said, you have 90 turns per area, and after you run out of those turns, the flood arrives and all your villagers die, meaning defeat, and then you have to start all over again. Villagers have their names, and you can even customize their color, so you can add that extra personal touch to them. Each one of them has a special ability and skill that can improve or be learned throughout the journey. And each different skill has 2 different skills that a villager can do depending on what you upgrade on his tree. First is a trapper, that can later become a fisher or a hunter. The second is a cook, that can become later a baker or a chef. Third is a gatherer, that can be a fruit gatherer or a woodcutter. Fifth is a herbalist, that can become a druid or a magician. Sixth is a builder, that can be architect or a engineer. Seventh is a stone gatherer, that can become a stone cutter or a miner. And the last one is a grower, that can be a herder or a farmer. There's a lot of them. So once you decide where to settle your villagers, they come out of the caravan, and then you have to plan which villager will, what will each villager do what. You will have many different resources that you can gather. You can gather wood, stone, ore, wool, pepkins, spices, and you can also later craft rations, potions, and even food, different recipes, if you make like a cooking house. Each resource has a purpose, and you will need almost every one of them. So at the beginning, you open your map and you pick one of the next destinations. You have two options, and you usually goes one or two and sometimes even more before the eye, which is your goal. When you reach the eye, that will be the end, and you will save the villagers from the flood. But it's not as simple as it may seem, because all of this is just a scratch of the game. Each area has a requirement of 3 to 4 things that you will need to make or gather or reach for the next area. It can be a fixed number of resources, or it can require of you to gain a certain level of a specific trade from a specific villager. You can always check which villager is at what best, and you can then just easily focus on doing what he does best, so he can level up faster. So after you settle, first you decide which villager will do what, and then you will end your turn. And then you click end turn, and if you haven't picked a villager to do anything, the game will remind you. So do not worry, you won't make a mistake even if you are rushing. So some resources can be harvested without any kind of structure, like pepkins or wood. But other resources, you will need to make a certain structure. And there are 3 types of buildings. So first type of building are buildings for harvesting building materials, which are sawmill, quarry, a mine, and mine can also be used for mining stone and ores. Second type of buildings are buildings for harvesting and production of food and other consumables, which are harvest huts, hunting lodge, cookhouse, and dispensary. And the third type are annex buildings, which are camp and a market. You can make basic versions of these structures, and you can make versions that can be moved to the next area. But there's a catch, because if you make the second type, the movable one, you will need more resources, and when you gather all necessary resources for the next area, you will need to put them in a big square with the already made moving structure if you want to move it in the next area, which can cause you to leave some of the important resources behind. Your villagers can also get sick, and you will have to make a potion to heal themselves. There are also aura trees that protect a certain part of the area that you are in. And if you have by any chance a druid, then he can talk in an ancient language with the tree, convincing the tree to give your villagers enough resources for their journey. And if you break that deal and you take more than what you said you will, then the tree can reduce your harvesting by 50%, and the climate change can happen, the storms can break loose, and thunder, even mosquitoes can kill you. There are also ruins that you can find in these areas, and the magicians, the druids, can read what is inside of them, and they can see if it's something good or something bad. But if you do not have a druid, then the chances are 50-50. It can be something good or something bad, but you do not have to explore. but you can. It can sometimes be a resource, sometimes it can be a knowledge. There's also a caravan that also goes through your area sometimes, and you can exchange with them materials or resources, and sometimes a new villager wants to join, and then you have to make a camp, because then he becomes lazy, and the lazy bastard won't help you because he doesn't have that extra bed sheet, which means that you have to make that camp, which means more grinding, more resources. You can also make your own custom world and start with it. And of course, it will be random every time you start it, but if you want to feel a bit more safer, you can put more food, more supplies, so you just know what to expect, or more ruins, like depending what you want. And as I said, in this game, I really felt confused at the beginning, and I was even frustrated. But once I went through these tutorials and I started my own game, I started appreciating it more and enjoying it more, because I didn't know everything about it, but I knew enough to survive. And it's fun and difficult at the same time. And that's what makes this game so great. It is really deep. And honestly, I got addicted to it. And let me say this, that even though it can be frustrating sometimes, overall I had fun playing this game. I was really surprised that it can even run on my computer. So that's even a bigger plus, because people with low-end PCs can actually run this game in 2020. And believe me, my computer is really old. I played this game for over 8 hours, and I just scratched the surface. And I will continue playing it. I definitely recommend it, because for its price, it really gives a lot. It is beautiful, it sounds great, it has a pretty soundtrack, it is very deep in its world, it has a lot of replayability and a lot of fun to be had. I will also leave a link of this game in the description. If any of you click on that link and you decide you want to buy the game, from that link, when you click and buy, I will get small percentage of it, small commission. And that way you will help me and you will help my channel. So that will be it. That's my review of As Far as the Eye. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then,